What is going on, guys? It's your boy Edward V, and today we're going to talk about how to use apple cider vinegar for intermittent fasting. Now, this isn't going to be simply just based on what I do or what I don't do. This will be touching on the current research so you can know exactly what the scientific literature is saying at this current time when it comes to apple cider vinegar. And some of what you might learn may surprise you. I'm going to go ahead and break it down in this video. Stay tuned. Now, quickly before we start, this video is brought to you by Fledge Fitness and the Fledge Fitness Jump Rope. We have been somewhat delayed because of this pandemic event, but please rest assured that all of the units have already been manufactured and we are simply waiting for the shipment to come in so that we can send it out. So if you haven't pre-ordered yours yet, what are you waiting for? The link will be down in the description, or you can press on the top right-hand corner of this video. Now let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Now, apple cider vinegar is regaining popularity within the realm of intermittent fasting or just health in general. Many people want to use apple cider vinegar to help them with fasting, and even if they don't fast, many people want to use apple cider vinegar to help them with losing weight. And just so you know, apple cider vinegar is simply apples crushed, distilled, and then fermented, which creates that high acidic acid level. Now, before I even jump into connecting fasting and apple cider vinegar, I do want you to understand that many of the studies that were done earlier on have been done with rats. And although rats provide scientific data, you should definitely never suggest anything based on rat studies. What rat studies are there for is to open up the dialogue and to have researchers actually construct a methodology and design for human studies. Luckily, with apple cider vinegar, over recent years, many human trials and human studies have come out, even to the point where we have meta-analysis data for apple cider vinegar. So the first thing I want to talk about is, can apple cider vinegar on its own assist you with fat loss? Can it increase fat burning on its own without any assist from any type of fasting or keto diet or any type of diet regimen? Nothing like that. Just apple cider vinegar on its own. Can it assist you with fat burning? Well, studies have shown that it does assist with weight loss and fat burning, but maybe not in the way that you think. Apple cider vinegar in and of itself doesn't increase the level of thermogenesis in your body to burn more fat without doing anything. What it can do, however, is a suppression of appetite. Now, this is why it's so popular with the intermittent fasting community. So looking at the meta-analysis that was released in the Diabetes Research and Clinical Practice Journal, we can see this result as they took multiple studies and put them together to see what the outcome was. And what they found was, yes, it did help suppress appetite, especially if you were consuming high carbohydrate meals. So you must be thinking to yourself, this is a perfect system to use with intermittent fasting. I can use apple cider vinegar and that would tide me over to my meal. So I can just wait it out. Apple cider vinegar will be my friend. But I'll propose another usage for apple cider vinegar. Rather than using it pre-meal, why not use it during your intermittent fasting meal? Why? Because it allows you to consume more carbohydrates and still reduce insulin secretion. That's right, because the same meta-analysis saw that because of the very high acidic acid in apple cider vinegar, postprandial glucose response was reduced significantly in those who took apple cider vinegar versus those who did not. And what postprandial means is after meal, in which the plasma glucose response was suppressed versus those who did not consume apple cider vinegar. And the researchers concluded this with a recommendation of 1 to 2 tablespoons per day. This multi-meta-analysis study included people who were insulin resistant. So it wasn't just people who were already insulin sensitive, it also included people who struggle with insulin sensitivity. And I would say that that might be the most powerful usage because we have the most powerful data regarding that specific element. You can actually technically pour it on your food. If you have a salad, you can use 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar while you're actually eating. And that actually makes apple cider vinegar more palatable and easier to consume because it's mixing with other meals. Very high acidic acid can create some issues when they're touching your teeth and gums due to enamel deterioration. So some tablespoons into water might be great, and if you're doing this, I definitely recommend to use a straw, but the better usage of it is for what it's actually there for, to put on your food. And they saw these suppression in insulin secretion with high carbohydrate foods. So it definitely can help you, especially if you're deciding to have a high carbohydrate meal. You can also consume up to 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar to help with insulin sensitivity. Remember, the more you fast, the more you increase insulin sensitivity. You're constantly moving in that direction. If you have another tool in your tool belt that can help you move in that direction, why not? And the reason why I say to stray a little bit away from apple cider vinegar being used as the appetite suppressant before your meal, because of a study that was released in the International Journal of Obesity that directly looked at appetite suppression and realized that the majority of why someone would not consume something or chose not to consume something after consuming apple cider vinegar was because of nausea, and not specifically because of anything inherent to the apple cider vinegar properties that lends to this hormonal effect that makes you not want to eat. It's actually simply because they are nauseous, which further emphasizes if you don't have to put yourself through that, it's best used as a tool with your food as opposed to before your food. You could also take it as a supplement if you don't want to deal with doing the tablespoons and drinking it out of the water and still get similar effects. And if you're thinking, how does this help insulin sensitivity and reduce insulin resistance? Well, they noticed that because of the high acidic level, it actually works very effectively in blocking starch absorption. And this is what lends to the positive plasma glucose levels after consuming food with apple cider vinegar. But one con to all of these pros when it comes to apple cider vinegar is it has been shown in all of these studies to reduce potassium levels. So if you're having problems with potassium, please be careful not to take too much apple cider vinegar. And if you don't have any problems with potassium, please make sure to take some potassium during the days where you're also taking apple cider vinegar. When it's all said and done, the main culprit or the main element that is causing all of these positive things to come from apple cider vinegar is actually its high acidic acid levels. So there you have it, guys. The best use for apple cider vinegar when intermittent fasting is not before or even after you fast, but instead actually during the time when you are eating. I put all of the links to the studies that I mentioned below. And of course, I want to thank my patrons for my Patreon, and I'm going to go ahead and put their names right up here. And as always, guys, I'll see you on Wednesday for another FAQ. Peace!